Hey, what is up, YouTube? This is TheTimeWizard here, coming at you guys with a request deck profile. A shout out to Kobe Harris for suggesting this deck profile idea. He wanted me to do some E-Heroes. Now, E-Heroes have fallen off the face of the planet since the banning of Stratos 2 ban lists ago. We did get the 3 E-Calls during that time and the 3 Malicious, and everyone thought that was a really unfair trade-offs. But may Stratos rest in peace, God bless his soul, all that jazz. But the deck is still viable. It just doesn't have as much oomph, as so to speak. It just doesn't have the kick it used to have. But the deck still can be very scary to go up against. It still has some crazy plays, and for the most part, the deck is completely searchable. You can find any of your monsters if you need to, and start really kicking some ass. So for the most part, this is a really generic build. I didn't deviate too much. This is pretty much to be used as like a template, so you guys can interchange some of the small stuff and change it to however you like. But for the most part, this build is pretty standard and generic. I just wanted access to the fusions and my key XYZs. I didn't feel like doing anything too crazy with this. So hopefully this helps you guys out, and I hope you enjoy the profile. So let's get on to it. I'll save some of the card choices for the end, and I'll talk about that. So, triple Bowman, triple Alias, standard stuff. 1 Wild Heart, 2 Game Webs, and 1 Thrasher. For the spells, Book of Moon, Dark Hole, triple E-Call, 2 Spark, 2 Miracle Fusion, triple MST, triple Pot, 1 Rhoda, and 2 Super Poly. For the traps, 2 Black Horn of Heaven, Bottomless, Compulse, triple Fiendish Chain, 2 Mirror Force, the Warning, and the Torrential. Now, for the stuff that you're thinking, okay, why is he playing this? The Wild Heart. Had to find something to replace Stratos. This guy works out. Doesn't do the same thing, obviously, but he's there for the name of an elemental hero. He's searchable with E-Call, so I have another target. He's just there. If he gets thrown in the graveyard, I have something to Miracle Fusion with. He's just there for the name. Keep that in mind. He's pretty low in attack at 1500, but he is unaffected by trap cards. So if you need to, you can poke with him if they have an open field. And I found him to be very useful in those situations. But if he dies, he dies. He served his purpose, in my opinion. So he's in there. He can be easily taken out. I know most people aren't a fan of him, but I thought he was an interesting tech in, so I tried him out. Now, the 2 Game Wings, however you pronounce that, he's there because you can special summon him if you have an alias out. He gives you field presence and allows you access to your rank 4s. Also, if you don't have the alias out, he's a 19 beat stick. That's pretty crazy. So he allows you to make all sorts of extra deck plays. So 2 of those, I thought it was very useful in a lot of situations when playtesting. The 2 Spark, 3 was too many. I didn't feel like it was necessary to play the 3. I know some people are die hard at 3, but 3, I was seeing it far too often when I didn't need it. But something else that may be a little strange, most people play 1 Super Poly. I think 2 is optimal. Discarding 1 card, I think, is very fair in exchange for pretty much stealing your opponent's monster and using it as fusion material to make one of your monsters. And plus they can't respond to it. So this card is very crazy. It gets around all sorts of stuff. And when it's a format where most people like to XYZ and Synchro, this card really fits the bill. So something else that's really crazy, 2 Black Horn of Heaven. Most people don't have access to this card, but I do, so I play tested it. I really liked it. Like I said, because people like to make their extra deck plays, this card comes in real handy when they try to make 101 or Exciton Knight to do their shenanigans, and I just sit there and laugh. So, but this card can be easily taken out if you don't have access to it. I know it's expensive, but, you know, if you don't like it or you don't have access to it, just find a replacement for it, D-Prison, whatever. Onto the extra deck, for the most part, it's all generic stuff. It's a pretty tight extra deck, but I tried to keep stuff in there that was necessary. You have your fusions and the XYZs. I tried to put in some cheap XYZs because not everyone has access to Exciton Knight in 101. So if you do have access to them, definitely play those. But I'll talk about the extra deck for a second now. You got the Ab Zero, the Squirtle, the Gaia, the Tornado, the Nova Master, and the 2 Shining. Usually Shine's your go-to guy. I would say second most used would probably be Ab Zero since you have the Bubble Man. But definitely these are all your Super Poly Miracle Fusion targets. This is your game winner pretty much. This is who you're going to use to shut your opponent down. But they all serve their purposes here. Tornado for Draco Sack, Nova for Zen Mains, Squirtle for, I don't know, Ophion. Actually, you couldn't even use Ophion with Super Poly. But anyway, they all serve their purposes. They get around. They're there so you can have targets. Like I said, the extra deck is really tight, so you can interchange these for whatever you need. But I feel like Dweller is definitely necessary when people are playing Mermails, and plus you have the Bubble Man, so you get the effect of that 500 boost, which is very helpful. It makes a big difference, I've noticed, in the Mermail matchup, that he goes to 2200 instead of the usual 17. So definitely play Dweller if you have one. Definitely play Blade Armor Ninja because they're all warriors, and this can just put 4400 on the board to your opponent if they have nothing to protect themselves. Omega, definitely play it if you can. If not, there's a replacement option you have here of Tsukiyomi. I'm a big fan of this card. I play it in my Constellars. This card is definitely useful if you don't have access to Omega because he lets you cycle through your deck. He requires the same materials, 2 level 4 lights, but once per turn you can detach from him and send your entire hand, minimum at least 1 card, and then you draw 2 cards. And then it just lets you cycle through your deck. You get more cards to your hand. It just opens up plays for you. So he's there. He does some work if you don't have access to some of this more expensive stuff. So he sits about at $2, by the way. The Diamond Dire Wolf to deal with stupid stuff, skill drain. I don't know. Cowboy, definitely play Excalibur. Do not take this out. He serves a very important function to the deck. He takes your materials and he dumps both of them at the same time into the graveyard. If he gets Fiendish Chain, let him get Fiendish Chain, but he served his purpose of dumping those materials back to the graveyard so you can easily go back into Miracle Fusion and go for Shining or whatever. Definitely necessary. I want to take him out. And then you got the Maystroke and then the Black Ship of Corn. I would say if you did have access to number 101, take out the Maystroke, and if you have access to Exciton Knight, take out the number 50 Black Ship of Corn. But for the most part, this is the cheap stuff you can get your hands on. If you do have access, definitely play those cards. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much a generic build. Didn't do anything too crazy. Also, take note, I didn't play Hero Lives. I didn't think it was necessary. But then again, I don't like paying half my life points. I never really like Solemn Judgment. It was a useful card, but the same idea being there, pay your half your life points. You always have half your life points to pay, but I don't think it's very necessary. But you can play it if you just really feel like you don't have enough field presence. But once again, a shout out to Kobe Harris for the idea, for suggesting this. And I hope this helps out some of you e-hero players or gives you an idea of how you can go about using the deck now since you still don't have Stratos. So, as always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.